Sorry about that. No, I just kind of... I've been awake again probably for an hour or so. Maybe 2 hours. No, I slept like shit last night, obviously. I didn't go to sleep till like 4 or something. Just having a lot of trouble sleeping. And then didn't wake up till like 11 or some shit. And yeah, I went to sleep in a funk and obviously stewed on it, and then woke up just kind of just not okay. But dealt with some shit for a couple hours while I was awake, because I'm getting done with the fucking head games with some people. You know, it's like, I'm just really done with it. And because of one person's actions, it really did affect every relationship around me. It got to a point that a lot of people, including my closest friend that I've known as long as I knew my brother Jess, you know, I found myself at a point that I'm walking away from everybody because I had my head messed with really bad. And I realized that over the last several years, I didn't have anybody to turn to. I didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, yeah, and if it came to wanting to go visit a friend or family, it was usually myself making the effort, and I realized I'm not making an effort anymore for people. You know, not to that degree. I'm tired. Doesn't mean I dislike, I'm angry or upset with different ones. No. I'm just done. I realize where I fit into people's lives. And it's not in a very big spot. So I just kind of quietly started to remove people, and then quietly remove myself from social media, you know, minus this. And I might check my Twitter X account thing here and there, but I won't. I don't really spend time on that at all. I don't even spend time on Insta. I just kind of had enough time looking back on everything and realized that, you know, when I've been going through the most difficult shit in my life at different points, I had nobody to turn to. Like, as I got older, it was like nobody. I found myself alone. You know, when I have to sit and worry about being alone on holidays. You know, Thanksgivings, Christmases, all this shit, because it's happened so much that I never know if I'm going to be sitting alone for a holiday or not. You know, and with my brother's birthday coming up here in 8 more days, so it's going to be next Monday. You know, that's not making it easier either. No, I ended up passing out again and basically slept out the day. Hip and back, everything like that's just been giving me fucking hell. And so I've been kind of down a bit, you know, just on the physical side of things, not just on in other subject areas. But no, I shut down. And kind of took time to myself. What was nice though is when I woke up from that adult nap, it was more like a full night's rest. Seemed more like. it was nice that at least one friend messaged me, and I didn't even know who that was either. It was another number, another number from somebody that I haven't talked to. Actually, it's somebody I've never talked to on the phone before or texted with before. Like, so I was kind of surprised. I was like, question mark, you know, that type of thing, because I saw when they sent the message, and I'm like, basically trying to remember along the lines of, you know, sorry for, you know, responding so late, you know. I'm just waking up from a nap, and you know, and to be honest, I'm not even sure who's messaging me right now. I'm not I didn't even recognize the area code, because for this state I only know of like 3 basically. I didn't know about this other one. I'm going, well, I didn't know that was an Oregon number. Well, I just learned something new today. But sorry, I don't like to, you know, necessarily eat where you can see right what I'm doing and all that stuff. I don't chew with my mouth open, but still. And sometimes if I'm getting ready to say something, yeah. But these are friends that, you know, some of them I've not known as long as even like my brothers, like Nate and Jess. Some of these friends I've known, gosh, yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised. It's been more than 10 years at this point. It's been that I've known them. It's just some of these different ones that are suddenly messaging me. It's been kind of nice, because I'm not expecting it anymore. You know, I don't even expect visitors at all. And if somebody was to show up, I would. Downside is, you'd probably see me respond almost like, you know, peeking out the window, like, who the fuck's here? There's not supposed to be anybody here. The dogs will let me know if somebody comes up, because the gate, you know, and all, they'd have to untie the gate, you know, unlatch and all that stuff, undo the gate and move it. But even then, I'd be looking out like, who the fuck's here? And because what's going on, I always keep something nearby. I'll just say that, because I don't trust anybody anymore. I had my trust destroyed. I can still respect people, talk to people, all that stuff. You know, I can still be friends with them, but trust right now is not something I have a lot of right now for other people. I had to learn a really fucked up hard lesson, and so. And it's something I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to understand, trying to figure out, and in some ways still cope with. Because, yeah, I lost, in the process, a lot of really good friends. I lost family, and some of which I turned away myself, because I come through that realization that in my lifetime, the people that have actually hurt me have been the people that have told me they loved me. And people that called me friend, or brother. And they've always been people that I've known since childhood. So it's like, you know, that in itself can make it hard for you to want to let somebody else in, because after so long, you might end up, you know, this is something I do keep in mind, which doesn't allow, which to a degree, I guess I could say, doesn't allow me to have one of those mental blocks that after an X amount of time has gone by, I suddenly start pulling some shit to sabotage the relationship, like other people I know. I'm one of those people, I'm in it for the long haul. I don't like playing games like that. I don't like, yeah. It's just like, I don't like messing with someone that, and this is the same thing with women, they don't need to be fucking messing with a dude that has, you know, 1, 2, 3, or a dozen other women on his fucking phone that he can just call right up and invite over if she doesn't come over type thing. Whether she knows it or not. I'm one of those guys, I don't need to deal with that either when it comes to a woman that might have, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 or more other men on speed dial. I'm sorry. There's a reason why I've gotten to this point in life without getting an STD. Or an STI is what they want to call it these days. Either way, disease, infection, there's a reason why I've gone this long in life without getting one. Knock on wood, so that makes sure, you know, not to jinx myself anytime in the possible future from someone that might be considering I'm gullible, obviously, which has made me more, it's got my defenses up a little more. And it's making me pay closer attention to how different people act around me. And it's not just in that type of scenario. It's just, I learned a long time ago that, you know, certain behaviors you might be able to look, you know, when you're a child, you could laugh about, you know, and then when they become a teenager, you go, okay, you know, that's not so funny anymore. You get into your 20s, and it's like, you know, you should be growing past this by this point, but, you know, by the time you're in your 30s, you should be mature enough to not be doing this shit. But when you're still doing shit that a high school kid would do in your 40s, when you want to treat people like they're just a convenience, it's like, you know, I don't want to deal with that shit. I'm at the point in my life, you know, I understand friendships. I will always understand friendships and the importance of them. Yet I also understand that I'm in that phase of my life that, you know, I want to settle down. I want to start focusing on getting my own business going finally. I want to start doing something for my life and not continually pushing myself back and putting, you know, things off that I need to get done so that I can try and make somebody else happy because they've got me so fucking drained. And it's like, I can't do that. You know, I can't be there for other people if I can't even be there for myself anymore. And it's like, as much as I want a relationship, I don't want to be a relationship with somebody who's going to be self-subservient or whatever, or self-servant, and expecting that the person they're with is going to be be a bit of a servant to them too, and takes away from their ability to do what they need to do and ought to focus all on them. It starts to become impossible. It's like when there's one issue after another and you're the type of person who wants to fix the problem so it doesn't get worse, and you're dealing with somebody who knows that's the kind of person you are, they're just going to keep creating more and more problems, and you're going to find yourself overwhelmed and unable to fix anything. No, I'm at the point that it's like, no, I'm very guarded. You know, I'm not just letting anybody, you know, pretty much in my front door type thing. And I don't care what they look like or what's in their bank account in that sense, because of the fact that that doesn't necessarily make you a good person. I've learned that really, really well. I learned that lesson really well. Just as I've learned that, you know, having money doesn't always make you a bad person, or being good looking doesn't always make you a bad person. There's always that dual-edged sword that's in every scenario. You got really good looking people that have money, and then you have people who are good looking with money who are just absolutely fucking ugly human beings. Because it's their heart and their soul that fucking, you know, in my eyes, that's what I see in people. It's like, if your heart's that fucking dark and dirty, you're an ugly fucking human being. I don't care what I see on the outside. You know, I mean, are you going to walk up to a rose and just grab a hold of it because you see something that looks good and smells good, so you're just gonna grab a hold of that fucking thing knowing it's gonna fucking hurt you. It doesn't care what it's gonna do to you. It doesn't care it's gonna draw blood. It doesn't care if you could end up with infections and all that shit. It don't care. So it's like, that's how I view some people. It's like, it doesn't matter, you know. I guess a good example for those who obviously understand this point of view of things, you know, Satan was the most beautiful creation that God ever made, yet also the most evil. And when your heart space is more filled with materialistic things and more aimed for that, I can't say that necessarily you're a good person. I can't say you're a bad person, because you have that free will to choose what you're going to fill that heart space with. And when you're filling it with using people, hurting people, lying to people, cheating on your relationships, stealing, manipulating, doing all this fucked up shit that you knew as a child was really fucked up and wrong, I think you have to ask yourself, are you really growing out of your old self, or are you growing into something really fucking bad? Could a lot of us, you know, look at our younger selves, you know, our kid selves in the face and look at them and tell them, you know, look at them straight in the eye and say, I did right by you? I think extremely few people can really do that. I can't even do that. Yet, it makes me wonder on some of these others, if they could look at their younger self dead in the eyes, if they could say that they're proud of what they've become, and if that's what they wanted to grow into, to grow out of their old selves. Did you want to grow into an extremely selfish, self-absorbed human being that the only way you can be happy is if you get lots of money and the approval of anybody else but yourself and the person that you're committed to? And that's if you're committed to anybody. It's not just about looking God in the eye in the end, because some people don't believe in God. Some people say they do and they portray they do, but they don't. Their actions say it all. Because they have no remorse in their actions. The only time they have really real remorse is when they get caught and they're feeling guilty. Because they didn't want to get caught. They didn't want that shit to come out. They thought it could go forever. You know, there's, you know, a lot of people out there like that who do really, really fucked up things behind closed doors. While out in public, they're, hi. I'm just the nicest, awesomest person in the world. I'll look at you dead in the face, like, yeah, depending on who you are, you know, yeah, I can be, I might come out nice, but in my mind, I'm an asshole. And so, like on applications, when they ask you, you know, this whole thing of, you know, do your friends or what, do you think your friends view you as this, and it's like most times I don't know how to answer that, because I'm pretty sure I've got, you know, there's friends that I've had that absolutely fucking hated me, and I didn't know it until it was too late, or I had friends that absolutely loved me to death, and you know, you wouldn't necessarily know the difference between the two till something happens, and you realize who's your friend and who isn't, who's your family and who's not, or I should say, who's your family and who's your relative. So I mean, I've had to learn these lessons in really fucked up ways, and yeah. It's made me super, super guarded. No, I'm hoping at some point after moving and all that, or even before moving, because I'm at the point I'm tired of being lied to and used by people, that I am keeping my options open for the possibility of new friendships and all this shit, and moving on with my life. You know, I am hoping to be able to finally be able to settle down at some point with someone, considering I was trying to do that with somebody the last 12 years, only to find out that they were too busy rocking around in other people's homes and other married people's relationships. So it's like, I have to look back and realize, I have to repeatedly tell myself that was not a relationship. I was committed and in a relationship. They were not. If they were committed and in a relationship, they would have known when to tell their family to back the fuck off. Just like I've had to do plenty of times with my own family at times, and they want to start putting in their own, P's and Q's, and it's like, no. I'm not coming home and sleeping with you. And your opinions are based on very much one-sided selfish opinions, based on the fact that you're not here seeing what's going on. You're not actually seeing my own actions at times there, because like in their situation, they're not going to be honest. Kind of like, me sitting at, standing there here, putting their bed together, and they're telling their mom, oh, I'm just getting it out of the box. I'm doing this on my own, this type of thing. It's like, when you have to lie to everybody and you keep getting caught in lies and all that, and you want to keep people secret because you're afraid of how people are going to react, that should tell you what kind of people you keep around, what kind of people you're trying to fucking make happy, and all this shit. When you have to be ashamed of your own fucking, of the person that you're with, that you have with you. It should tell you what kind of person you're becoming. That's weird, 21. But you have to ask yourself, is that the kind of person you really want to be like? Where you gotta keep secrets from everybody because you've been lying to everybody. Is that the kind of person you want to be with? Someone who keeps you a secret because they're juggling you. Or they're trying to appease the parental gods. Or friends that supposedly they haven't done anything with. But when they're allowing that much power even to their friends, they've obviously done more than just hang out. They probably really hung out. I don't want to be with somebody who's not going to defend my relationship and me when I'm not there the same way I would for them when they're not there. And when they're more than apt to throw me in a bus, under a bus, do all this other shit, and do these really fucked up things, I'm still going to defend them when it's proper, but I'm not going to defend them when I know they're guilty about some things. I'm not doing that at that point. I've been with people, even if I knew they were guilty of certain situations and all that, I gave them the benefit of correcting their character and becoming a better person, so that, in the sense of, they're not doing that shit anymore. They're not repeating those behaviors anymore. And with the idea and history of where even my older sibling, not oldest, but my older sibling is concerned, in the history where we're concerned, and where my family's concerned, all this shit, if I may not trust you ever again, especially if you do it to me, I won't trust you again. But I'll always give you the benefit to try and do right and correct who you are, not find better ways to try to find other ways to keep secrets and keep juggling and find ways to hide those behaviors even more. That's making you pretty much more or less, just in my eyes, a criminal. Because those are the only kind of people that will consistently try to think of ways to keep doing bad things behind closed doors, while they make everybody else in public think that they're a wonderful, awesome, shy, victim, hero type. They're either a victim or a hero, they're nothing in between. And so, it's just... Sorry, I'm sitting here enjoying my dinner. Made chicken and green beans. And I made my puppies each a chicken boob with some green beans in it, because I know they're going to want to tear into mine, and it's like, no, I want to actually eat my dinner, guys. So I got them each, a scoop of green beans and their own chicken poopy, and cut it up, put it in a bowl, so that way they got something more than just kibble. I do this once in a while. A lot of times when I cook dinner, even though I generally like to cook just like a serving, where there's not enough, there's enough there that you eat and you feel full. It's like I try to do it where it's about just right type thing, where there's no leftovers. But I also, because I have these four-legged monsters right here, I will make a little extra so that way they get a couple bites or something, you know, at the end. But once in a while, I'll just cook them an entire extra, you know, chicken boob, or if I have it, and I'll get a pack of those little round steaks. They got thin cuts and they got thick cuts. I try to get the thick cuts usually. I'll break them up into packs of 2 or 3, but I'll sometimes make an extra 1 or 2 of those so that they each got their own little steak. And on Thanksgiving, so this week I've got to go get a couple extra things for Thanksgiving. I still need to get. Thankfully, I've still got some good fresh russet potatoes right here for mashed potatoes. I prefer orange, red potatoes. Always have. But I've got I gotta at least pick up a thing of rolls, like a small, like one of those small, like what, 4 or 6 pack things of the roll things, the King Hawaiians, you know, type thing. I would make them myself, but I just don't. It would cost more to make a couple biscuits than it would be just to buy one of those at that point. Plus, I gotta find something. I gotta pick something up so I can actually cook the turkey legs, because I realize I don't actually have anything to cook the turkey legs in. I have a great big roaster thing, but to cook those 2 turkey legs, I don't know why I would cook them in the roaster like that. You know, it's something I just gotta get either a different roasting pan or something, or whatever, or a broiler pan, you know, a deep broiler pan, so that way, just in case. And then while I do that, I'll probably try and pick up if they have them, I'm pretty sure they have them, like a turkey breast type thing, so I can cut it up, because, excuse me, during Thanksgiving, I usually, like, especially when I living on my own and all that stuff by myself, and having to deal with all that alone, and I would do up these little plates for my animals, like for my cats and shit. They'll have like little mashed potatoes, a little bit of veggie, a little bit of turkey up in there, some brown gravy, a little couple pieces of, you know, like a quarter or half a piece of a roll. They'll have their own little Thanksgiving dinner. I do that for my cat Chewy. I did that for years, pretty much all the way up until he passed away, and all that. With the turkey gravy or the brown gravy, didn't matter. I prefer brown gravy, but I don't mind turkey gravy either. But yeah, so I've got a couple things, but I'm gonna make sure that these other 3 get to have their Thanksgiving dinners too. In fact, these guys are cool enough now. There you go, guys. There you go, Coda. But I'll make sure my animals get to celebrate Thanksgiving too a bit. That's what I always do. I'm not expecting anybody here that day, so the way things go, people these days, they either just straight up ghost you or give you a bullshit excuse why it didn't happen, something. So I stopped expecting a long time ago, and I stopped asking a long time ago. Kind of like with Christmas, I'm not an easy person to shop for, because I really don't ask for anything for Christmas. As a child, I've watched my brothers get half the things that they wanted for Christmas. Myself, I got the most random shit. I think only a couple times might get one or two things that I might have asked for, and a lot of times it was because it was the only thing I ever wanted as a kid growing up was a bike, and at the age of 3 was when I got my first bike. It was an old He-Man Mattel bicycle, but the tires were not tires. They were just these hard, like flat, straight-edged wheels on a rim. So I mean, once they wore off and broke off, you put normal tires on them, and that's what I had to ride until I was like 9, 10 years old. There's a point there that it was just so rusted, broken down, all that stuff that, yeah, I couldn't ride it anymore. I mean, that was the only thing I actually really wanted as a kid growing up, was a bike. So when I got the new bike, that was great. I loved that thing. I rode that everywhere. I had the greatest time ever. And I actually broke my tailbone on that bike, on the second bike that I got. Jumping it and going down and going through the air. Yeah, I'm doing great. And then one day, slip off the pedals as you land and tap the tailbone right on the nose of your seat and then straight down on the crossbar. Oh, man, that didn't feel good one bit. I had to sit on this donut thing for like 2 weeks and all that shit because, yeah. So that didn't exactly help, some of the spinal damage that had already been dealt with from when we got into a really bad accident with a semi-truck up in the Gorge area back when I was like 4. We were coming back from Richmond, Virginia. We were coming here from Richmond, Virginia. For my folks, it's coming back. For me, it was my first time coming to Oregon. Because this is where they're from. I'm the only one in my immediate family, my parents' brothers. So I wasn't born in Oregon. So yeah, when the family came back to Oregon, there was a really bad accident, which screwed all our backs up after that. And then of course the NF hasn't helped, and then amongst a bunch of other shit. But yeah, that's all I wanted for a kid. So as a kid. So I mean, I've never necessarily been super easy on things. It's like with my ex, we might be at the store and she'll notice I like something and all that stuff, and she'd be like, at times there, she'd be like, "Do you want it?" And it's like, no, I don't. I want it, but I don't need it. I'm fine with it. Not having it. Just yeah. And so she'd get pissed at me too at times because I wouldn't ask for anything. And other times she'd offer something and it's like, no, and she'd get mad about it, and it's like, I'm not doing it to be difficult, it's just how I am. It's like, we all see something that we really like, and sure, we might want it, but do we really fucking need it? And so that's why it's like, if I don't need it, I don't need it. So it's like, I'm like the next person. Yeah, I would love to have that, 1953, Corvette. But do I need it? No, I don't. Yes, I would love and want a big fucking, not necessarily a big giant one, but a castle up on a fucking hilltop somewhere in the middle of the fucking woods, to get to enjoy, looking out and seeing everything, the views and everything, and then having room in the middle of the courtyard of it, to have gardening there. I mean, yeah, I want it. Do I need it? No. That's where, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like, yeah, we all have wants, but do we really need it? Because I found that the only things I've ever really needed in life for me is having real family, real friends, and people who genuinely actually give a shit about me, and vice versa. The objective things, those things come and go faster than people, generally. Unless you're one of those ones that go through men or women like a pair of underwear. But I need food, just like the next person, water, sustenance, all that shit. I do have certain needs, but it's not in the sense of what people would expect or think I would think would be general. It's not. It's like here's for an example. For when it comes to a home and places I'm looking for to live. Done. Yes, you can clean the plate. But no, I don't want to live in a ranch-style home. It's pretty much what I've lived in my whole life. I just really don't care for them. I like something a little unique. I do like older built homes. But the quirkiness of places I want to live, I want to make sure that there's a train track somewhere nearby so I can hear the train. I don't want it in my backyard, obviously, because then it'd be a little loud and it'd be kind of hard to sleep when one rolls by. Although, probably not for me. Because we had one when living up in Canby from our apartments. There's train tracks like 4 or 5 blocks away, 6 blocks away, something like that. And you can hear that thing come through at night real easy. But I also am watching areas where they don't just have, trains are not just going through there. But also I would like to be somewhere that has an Air Force base nearby because I enjoy hearing, the jets and shit flying over. It sounds weird, but yeah, when it comes to trains, the reason why I like there's more than one reason why I like the sound of trains. There's kind of a comfort to it, knowing that as long as the trains are moving, you know that in essence the country is functioning. When it comes to the jets, and planes and stuff flying over, I don't know how to explain that one. I really enjoy watching them, and I like listening to them. There's certain sounds or tones that it hurts the ears, but other than that, it's, yeah, I enjoy it. So that's kind of what I look for. It's like a home that's a 2-bedroom on at least a half acre, and there needs to be, if anything, at least one or the other or both when it comes to train tracks going by, near the area, some sort of Air Force base or whatever. That's the quirkiness of how I look at it. I don't care if I have, a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, anything like that. I'm okay with the 2-bedroom, 1-bath on a larger property. So it kind of gives you an idea of where I kind of look at things. It's not so much the material needs of everything. It's kind of the aspect of, living and being able to enjoy it and not be so fucking stressed out all the time. It's like there's people out there that I admire that they go to work every fucking day. Yeah, they're tired and but they come home. They've got their family there. They got people who give a shit about them, and they're happy. I don't want to be one of those people who are constantly trying to find material gratification. It's like a drug addiction. It's like it doesn't work. It's like it eventually you're going to find yourself, whether it's with money or whatever, you're going to find yourself still eventually in time a cold-hearted person. And I don't want to spend my life chasing after cotton and ink. I'd rather spend my life appreciating it with people who give a shit about me. And I don't care whether I'm rich or poor. You know, I'd like to be able to run my own business, and that's my goal here. Especially once this place sells, that's my definite goal. I'm completely starting over. I'm having to rebuild in every aspect, from home to relationships. There's a lot of people I genuinely care about that. Even some they knew, and they had an idea that I was getting ready to, in times, start severing relations with a lot of people, primarily that are some way, shape, or form linked to that person. Third party, fourth, I don't want any connection. No. And because of the people they've targeted to get their revenge on me type shit, like going after my best friend back in high school, and then going after my cousin with the assist of my mom helping on that fucking bullshit. No, I'm always going to have that fear. The moment I find out they've been sleeping around for a while and they've been pursuing other people for a long time, it makes me worry about, okay, now I have to worry about my friends. I have to worry about so-and-so. It'd be nice if it comes down to, it'd be nice if I found someone, it was just them and I at this point. It doesn't mean I don't ever want to have time for friends, or I don't think friends are good or anything. It's good to have friends. It's good to get together with your friends once in a while, but it'd just be nice to find somebody that, a companion for the rest of my life, and not somebody who's just going to fucking use me for their self-gain. So, I've been withdrawing a lot of my energy from a lot of people. A lot of people I genuinely care about, and even some that, they really haven't done anything to me. It's the idea I've gone through so much shit from that person. They pulled so much shit that they caused me to start almost becoming borderline paranoid about certain situations. Like, are you just going to go after this person now just purely to be a douche about it? Or are you going to go after that person now? Are you going to keep doing this? Are you going to keep doing that? It's like, I don't want to live the rest of my life living in fear of that person targeting a friend, a family, anything like that. I don't want to go the rest of my life living in fear that all that person's doing is using me, lying to me, and cheating on me. And they're giving me no reason to think that it's going to become any different. Yeah. Now, I found a few more houses. There's one that I thought was really neat. It was built in like 1890 or whatever. The interior-wise, because the exterior, two different houses, but interior-wise, it reminds me of the type of house that you would see on Miss Doubtfire on the inside. And I was like, this is actually kind of neat looking. It's a nice old house, So I made sure to save that. I've got quite a few saved. I'm hoping like 2 or 3 of them, in essence, don't sell before this place sells, but we'll see what happens. There's always going to be another one up for sale that I'll find at some point that I'll like. It's just, yeah. So, I'm just kind of mentally and, in essence, emotionally, kind of preparing myself to be making some really heavy fucking changes. Down to saying goodbye to a lot of people. And I meant what I said to a lot of people, too. That once I'm moved, it's probably going to be a straight goodbye. And I'm not putting the effort into things, people, places, not that realistically is just draining the shit out of me. And so, it's, at that point, it's time to finally build something, not keep putting it off, not keep, in essence, living in some level of fear. And it's like, if I move somewhere else, where I don't know anybody at all, at least at that point, at least I know I have a clean slate to be able to not just start over, but I have the ability, even if it makes me look like a fucking prick or stuck up, to be even more selective of who I surround myself with. It's been hard enough living here and just trying to go to town, do anything like that. I avoid it like the plague if I can. Because I really don't want to be in a place that I have to worry about running into somebody that used me for 12 years of my life and lied to me and cheated on me. And I don't want to go through all that when they haven't even been able to be completely honest with me. So I don't need to walk into something in a public space like that. Because I don't know. They're not being honest. And like I said, when they can't be honest to their own parent because they're afraid of how their parent will respond or react to that, I don't appreciate being kept a secret or being lied about. So, anyways, I've just talked your ear off for 46 minutes, and I'm obviously done eating. I'm going to try and sit, relax, and go put some fucking biofreeze on my lower back, because this shit's been hurting pretty good. So, hopefully I can go back to sleep here tonight, but we'll see what happens. Oh, and it did snow, just a little bit. Have a good night.